everyone. So thank you so much for joining um, in person as well as online. My name is Rashmi Krishna Mohan. I work as a data analyst with United Way, Windsor Essex County. I've been with United Way for a couple of years now, and I recently joined Hartford as one of the board members a couple of months back. Yeah, pretty stoked to be here because I came to Canada as an international student. And I was actually like struggling to get a job after I graduated from my master's. And then I was like looking for some stuffs like what to do in order to like search for a correct job in data and science. And then someone pointed out that I had to create like a portfolio website that kind of contains a lot of Excel work, SQL, Power BI, all your stuff that you're practicing, that you have to put it into a GitHub repository that the recruiters can actually see your work, and then they can like run what you're capable of. You need a portfolio for that. And that's why we actually started this data analysis series, where we are first starting with Excel dashboard, but then we're slowly we're planning on that. We're slowly moving into SQL exploratory data analysis, and then Power BI, like our dashboards, building that dashboards along with us. And then finally, like creating resume for job search, and then also finally like building a portfolio website that you can actually add as a link to your resume, that the recruiters can see for any entry level position. Like this is actually like we're starting from basic, not too basic, but like everything related to like how Power Query works, how you can use Power Query in Excel to clean and transform data, and then slowly progress towards creating pivot table and then creating a dashboard today. That's the introduction I wanted to give you. Just start with the analysis part. I'm just going to jump straight into it. And if you guys are okay, we're just going to do it together. And I'm going to like share my screen, and you can just like follow along and do it along with me. And that'll be like really helpful. And we can like start with what I'm going to try and create today during our workshop. And this is like the coffee sales dashboard that I created for this event. I'm going to like show the data set in a few minutes, but what we are trying to achieve here is making an interactive dashboard in Excel that can be used for stakeholders to actually like not just see like endless rows and columns in a table, but actually like look at visuals that is like actually telling a story with data. So I'm just going to select something here with the slicer. We have a month name and a day name slicer, like the filter that you can filter the whole dashboard with. And the whole dashboard in Excel is going to dynamically change with the selection. It's just very simple. I just made like put together like two simple slicer because it's a very simple data set. It has like 2023 like data for 6 months. That's about it. I just wanted to keep it very simple. And we are going to look at peak hours of the day where when the sales were at the top in the coffee shop, and then orders on weekdays, like which day of the week we had more sales in that coffee shop, and sales distribution by order and category percentage distribution based on sales, like which category, like bakery, coffee beans, like um, those kind of comparisons. And then we have like store locations too, that we can see like number of transactions and sales over those 3 store locations. And then I've ranked like top 5 products based on sales, like which are all the products that is like doing super well in that particular coffee shop. So I'm gonna open a new Excel sheet here, Excel workbook. So if anyone's new on the chat, I think there is a GitHub link to the GitHub that you can go and download this zip file, coffee shop sales zip file from. If you go to the desktop version, I think if you go on file options, and I think you'll have something called add-ins, or maybe we can try that. Yes, if you are able to find the add-ins, you just have to change it to com add-ins and
select all 3 options.
Oh, okay.
Go, and then basically we'll select on 3 options.
So, and then you have to select on go, check on go button, and then you have to do the same for. Can I do that? Okay, perfect. Okay. So for those who can get to this get data thing, we are just going to click on Excel workbook and select that transaction coffee shop sales Excel workbook from the extracted folder. Once you click on that, it'll connect to that particular Excel that we have selected, and you'll get a navigator box. Just give it a second.
Yeah. Now we just come.
Okay. So you'll get the navigator box and just select on the transactions. It'll give you a preview of the data set that we are going to work with right now. Instead of loading the data, we have to make some transformations in order to make some columns work for us when building the visualization. So I'm going to click on transform data. So it takes us to the Power Query editor. So this Power Query editor is actually very useful tool when you want to like clean your data, remove any duplicates or fill missing values. And it's also available in Power BI too. If you have used Power BI before, you would have seen this. But it's a very handy tool when you want to transform or process your data before visualizing it. So I'm just going to see what data we have. So as usual, we have the transaction ID, which is like the primary key. It contains of all unique identifiers for each record. So that's one column. And then we have the transaction date, which is already in the date data type. The Power Query assume that it's date and it's like converted that into a date type. So we have like, I'm going to expand this to like show all the fields. As I mentioned, we have 6 months data for 2023. And then the third column is transaction time, but it's very evident here that the year is pretty wrong. But all we need here is the timestamp, the 6:06:11 a.m. So we are going to fix that as well. Okay. And the next column we have is the transaction quantity. So the transaction quantity is like how many, like for each transaction, how many items the customer purchased. And then we have store ID and location. All we have to do is like, sorry, are we good? Okay. Are you good? Or do you have any questions? I'm just explaining the data set here. I'm just explaining the data, what we have so far. If you can just see the screen, we'll just like go over what columns we have. Okay, perfect. As I mentioned, we have the store ID and location. Since we already have the location in the same table, we don't need to bother about the store ID here. So we have like 3 store location: Astoria, Hell's Kitchen, and Lower Manhattan. That's all 3. And then we have product ID and unit price. So as you can see, we have the transaction quantity and unit price. From that, we can get the total sales amount, like multiplying the transaction quantity with the unit price. And then we have the product category, like coffee, tea, drinking, chocolate, etc. Bakery item, what kind of, the product comes into which category. And the product type itself, like what kind of coffee, like gourmet, brewed coffee, brewed chai tea, both are same, but still, that's good. And then product detail, like about the actual product, like Ethiopia coffee, spicy eye opener chai. But if I'm going to expand this and see here, um, let me see. So it has like Brazilian LG, Brazilian RG, Brazilian small. Like it's pretty evident that it's a size of the coffee, like large, regular, small. So we have to fix that. We need that in our visualization as a separate column. So we are going to split that column into a different one. So we are just going to do these kind of transformations really quick right now. So we'll just go back to the transaction time. All right. From that, okay, from that, we're just gonna, okay, transform this into, let's see. Okay, I'm going to go to the home button and then press on time. So that way I'm going to add a new step here. So it removes that error type date here, which is just going to give us the timestamp, which is all we need. And then we have the transaction quantity. And I'm going to move it next to the unit price because I want to like create a total sales column by multiplying this quantity with the unit price, which is actually very easy with the Power Query. I'm going to add a column. And I'm going to add like, if you click on the custom column, just give a column name like total bill amount, right? And then from the available columns, I'm going to do the transaction quantity into unit price. What we're doing is we are multiplying quantity with the price to get the total sales amount.
So is this data assuming that customer ordered 2 of the same thing?
Exactly.
Okay,
Like 2 coffees or 2 scones, something like that.
got it. Okay.
I'm going to click on OK here. So that's there. We got that total bill amount. And the next thing we have to fix here is the product detail. I really want to extract this size from this product detail, like RG, LG, these stuff. So I'm going to add one more column. Instead of custom column, I'm going to click on conditional column this time. So when you click on that, so I'm going to give the column name as size. Right? And if the column, what's the column name? Product detail. If it contains LG, right? I'm going to output it as large. Okay. And I'm going to add one more clause. If the product detail contains RG, I need the regular. I need the output as regular. And then one more clause. Product detail. If it contains SM, I'm going to output that as small. So we have something called else clause on the bottom. It's because sometimes it might be a bakery item. It can't be defined as large, medium, or small. So I'm going to make it as not defined because we want to record that as well. I'm going to click on OK. So now we have a new column called size. But if you still see the product detail, it still has this RG, LG, SM, which is not good. Like I don't want that in my column. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click anywhere where there's RG. I'm going to replace it. Wherever there's RG, I have to select the column and then right click, replace. And wherever the value to find is RG, I'm going to replace with regular. I'm going to replace with null. I don't want to replace it with anything. So I'm going to leave it blank and then click on OK. Are you good, Christian? Or do I need to like?
I got it.
Okay, perfect. And then I'm going to do the same for LG. Wherever there is LG, I'm going to right click on that and replace values. And wherever there is LG, I'm going to leave it blank. Same thing. And then I'm going to search for small and I'm going to right click. So wherever there is SM, I'm going to leave it blank. I don't want to have that. Right? So we have this with us. But let me just quickly extract the length of this column, right? If you see the length, Ethiopia, ETHIOPIA, that's 8, right? But it shows as 9. That's because there's a leading or trailing space in this particular column. So we need to clean that first, right? I'm going to remove this. And if you select this product detail and right click and go to transform, there is something called trim here. So it's going to click on product detail. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Go to transform and click on trim. So what it does is it removes all leading or trailing white spaces in any record. So that's what we did. I'm going to extract this one more time, the length of the product detail. just to check, to make like verify that we did right or not. Like, so now that it's all 8, and we're going to check for one more stop. That's 21. That's too long to check. Latte, that's 5. So that's pretty good. I don't want this length anymore. So I'm going to remove that. Okay, perfect. I think, are we good so far? Or, okay, perfect.
Check with them this one. Yeah, it's correct. So this before was 9, then we removed spaces, so it became 8. It's 8 characters. Yeah, on the right track.
Okay. Are you good? Right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So we have cleaned this just to check that there are any duplicates or not. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on view and check the column distribution just to see if there are any unique IDs or how many unique values, and if there are any spelling errors within the data set. We have so every time the Power Query, it's going to show only the top 1,000 rows. That's the column profiling. It's always going to show 1,000. So based on that, we can check. We have how many unique values. We have 1,000 unique, 3 distinct, and 0 unique. That's good. We have just like 3 distinct, 0 unique, Lower Manhattan, Astoria, and Hell's Kitchen. Nothing like stands out to me as an error. So I think we are good. We don't have any duplicates. We can check it this way. But if you do find errors, you can check on this column quality right here. It'll show you if there are any errors or if the data is valid or not, or if it has any empty or null values. So in that way also you can like double check if the data set is okay to proceed. That's what I usually do to check my data set. If in case you find any duplicates, just in case, you can click on this table on the top. It's gonna show you like different options. Like if you want to keep bottom rows, top rows, there's an option here called remove duplicates. I'm not going to click it here because I didn't find anything. But if you do, it's going to remove any duplicates you have in the data set. So that's pretty handy for like, it's just one click. You get it done like by Power Query. Everything is like on there. I have a PDF as well in the GitHub. If you could see, we have like recommended KPIs. That's too bad. Like what kind of KPIs we can look at in a visualization. So KPIs are like key performance indicators, like performance metrics that any stakeholder or your leadership would like to see in a dashboard or a report. So it's like you can't fly blind when you're creating a report or dashboard. You need something like to work towards. So this is like a recommended KPI list, what we are going to use in our dashboard, what we are going to build. So I'm just going to read a couple here. So how do sales vary day by day? I mean, day by day of the week and hour of the day? And are they in peak times for sales activities? From these two, right? So we need a day of the week and hour of the day. And we need the peak times. That's like hour, right? Which hour is like having the most sales. But if you look at the sale data set, we have just the date itself. We need the day of the week. And from the transaction time, you need the hour of the day. So what you have to do is you can actually get that from the Power Query. So if you click on the transaction date, and instead of transform, you can go to add column. We are going to add one more column that's going to extract the day of the week for us. So if you go to the add column, on the top, there is a date option. And I'm going to go to the day, and I need the name of the day. I want to extract that. Right? So if you scroll all the way to the right, it's going to show you which day it is, Sunday, Monday. So it's going to extract it for you. And the same goes for the hour too. I'm going to click on the transaction time, and you have to be sure that you're using that in add column, not in transform, because transform also has the same thing. If you click on that in transform, it's going to change your actual data set to the hour, but we need the additional column not to change the transaction time. So go to add column, and I'm going to extract the hour. So it's going to extract like which hour it is. So I think we got everything right. So I'm going to go back. What's the third one? What is the total sales revenue for each month? we don't have the month. We have just the date. So I'm going to go back here. Go back to the transaction date, click on date, and in the month, I'm going to extract the name of the month, right? So we got the month name as well, January 7, Sunday. So I'm actually happy with what we have so far. So we're gonna start building our pivot table, but we can't do it from the Power Query. Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just gonna close and load this Power Query, but I'm gonna close and load it to our Excel sheet as a table. So we want a table to work with, and I'm going to use my existing worksheet because it's just plain worksheet. And make sure to check this, add this data to the data model, because if you create a data model, if you are getting any more sheets in the future to work with, you can actually create a relationship between two worksheets in the future and then build more data sets from that. So make sure to check this box. And I'm going to click on OK. Give it a second. I did something wrong. Okay, no worries. I pressed something else. One. I clicked on a random cell, so it just came to me somewhere. Okay, so we have our table here, which is having all the things we added. So if you go to the right side, it's going to have the month name. 1 second. Okay, it's going to have the month name, the hour, the day name, and the total will be added, like the multiplication of quantity and things. So it's all there that we can start creating our pivot table. So I'm going to create a new sheet here and name it as pivot. Okay. So before that, make sure you're.
So
Oh, yeah.
total bill, okay?
Sorry.
The total bill, like we're getting 6.2.
You're
Getting 3.
You're getting 3.
No, you're getting 3 in the total bill.
Oh. Yeah, 3 into 1. The order is different for both of us, I guess.
We didn't get the first prompt actually when we clicked close and transform. We run a first prompt, so we got that.
Is the multiplication factor working fine for you, like the quantity and the unit price?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the order it's different for us. The transaction ID for me, first ID is 114301. I think it's different for me.
We got in like ascending orders, like from the start with 1 to 3 only.
Okay, yeah, that's
not an issue.
okay, yeah. But the formula worked, right? Okay, one more thing we have to make sure that you make sure you have the developer tab on, because we need the Power Pivot to be opening like for you. So for that, sometimes it won't be like automatic for everyone. You won't have the tab. In that case, go to File, Options, and Customize Ribbon, and make sure you check with this developer box. You'll have that, and then just click on OK. And once you go to developer, once you get the developer tab, right, go to form add-ins, and then make sure you have this Power Pivot for Excel selected.
I don't have developer
Oh, can you go to File for me?
options.
Wasn't options.
Can you go to Options? Yeah, Customize Ribbon.
Yes.
And you see on the right, there's a developer. You have to check that box.
Okay.
Got that?
Yep.
I'll click on OK.
Yep. I did that. I'm on developer now.
Okay, perfect. So once you go to developer tab, go to COM add-ins and make sure you have this Power Pivot for Excel selected.
Pivot for Excel.
So what this does is it allows you to create measures like DAX measures, like that's called data analysis expressions. You would have seen that in Power BI, but this is also possible in Excel too. So it allows you to do that and change some of the sorting by using the manage function. We're going to get to that in a while, but I'm just going to close this for now. I want to create like pivot tables. Okay, so once you have a new sheet, go to insert, right? And then you'll see the Power Pivot table right here. Once you click on that, make sure you select the data model that we actually created because so I'm going to select the existing worksheet. So now that we have the pivot table, in case you added the data model, you will see something called, I mean, like this, like the orange database stuff. But if not, you'll have the table itself. In that case, go to the table, but I'm going to go to the transactions. It's going to be the same column names, but so no worries, you can follow along as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and create these. How do sales vary by day of the week and hour of the day? So I want to see a couple of stuffs from the API list. So I'm going to click and drag the hour into rows. And then I want to see like the quantity, like how many sales have like quantity of sales that actually happened. So I'm going to drag that to the values table. So this is actually like showing the peak, like hour, the hour of the day and the number of sales happened during the hour of the day. As you can see, it's like it's a time format, like 24-hour format. So from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. we have the data. So not everyone is awake at 6, and I don't think they will be going to a coffee shop at that time much, but it slowly increases. And oh yeah,
I don't have some of transaction video on my thing.
what do you have?
Well, the name of it will change once you put it down there. So you should be
Yeah.
looking for transaction_QTY.
So if you drag and drop it onto the values, it's going to do an aggregate for you.
Oh, I got it. Thank you.
Perfect. So we can just do a quick analysis here, as I was mentioning. So the hour of the day it varies, like how much coffee or tea is being consumed, or how many people actually go to the coffee shop. So it's at the peak at 10 a.m. because they want to get to a meeting or something like that. But it slowly like reduces during the PM hours, and then I don't know who drinks coffee at 8 p.m., but there's still like people who goes to the coffee shop.
I think this is lying, and there should be a jump at 3 p.m.
Exactly. I was thinking the same thing. We need a afternoon coffee break for sure. So, okay, perfect. So this is like something that we can quickly check. I want to insert a line chart here because for any time related data, we have to make sure we are using the right type of visualization. For time data, it's always supposed to be a line chart. So I'm going to make one with a marker on it just to see like how the time flows. So this particular visual is what we are going to use in our dashboard, but we're going to make it a little bit pretty. So I don't want any of these buttons. I'm going to right click and hide all the buttons, field buttons here. And this legend doesn't make sense. It's just total. I'm going to delete that to make the visual broader. So this visual, you can actually add a couple of things here. The axis titles for one. Okay, perfect. So if you leave the axis like this, it's just not going to tell the users like what data it is. So make sure you check this axis titles. So, and I'm going to make this R of the day, right? And this is total quantity sold, something like that. And then this is sales by hour of the day. I'm just going to add a title, okay? This also allows you to add like add or remove grid lines, which is like not required for me because I'm just like looking for a trend, like if it's an upward or downward trend throughout the day. For that, you can add a trend line. So obviously it's a downward trend. So that's going to show up when you click on the trend line. You can click on data labels, but it's not going to show you anything. I'm not bothered about the data labels. I'm just worried, like concerned about which time of the day it has more sales. So I'm not going to check that. So we can play around like this, but I'm gonna click on Control X. I'm going to create one more sheet where we are going to build our dashboard. So I'm going to paste very roughly over here. I'm not going to do anything at this moment. I'm going to get to it in a few minutes, but I'm going to copy all my visuals onto this sheet, right? So first thing, it's done. I'm just going to keep this like that. So if you want to do the insert pivot table thing, again, do it, but I'm going to copy the pivot table, existing pivot table, and copy it on any sheet. So if you're not able to, I hate this one. So if you're not able to see that field list, click on the pivot table, go to pivot table analyze, and you can enable the field list over here. So I'm going to go over there. I don't want the hour now. I'm more interested to see the day, the Saturday Sunday stuff. So I'm gonna put that over here. But I want to look at the total sale, the total bill amount, and not the transaction. So now that we have this total bill, I don't want the count of the total bill. So I'm gonna go to the value field. Click on that. It'll take you to value field setting, and I'm gonna do the sum. I have to change my data type. That's too bad. Okay. I'm going to do that. I'm going to format my bill to currency and make it to 2 decimal places because that's what we want. And now I think we can start.
You should set it. Yeah, just some of the signal.
I'm going to go back here. I don't know how that came to.
Few value settings. Are you going to the number format? Like it's already set up. You go to currency. 2 decimal places. I believe.
How many? How many?
2 decimal places.
Go to data. If you go to that sheet 1, go to data, click on that get data itself, but not the Excel, but launch the Power Query editor from here. It'll take you like it'll have all the steps that you did before to transform that data.
Yes.
And I don't know, I forgot to change data. To do the transformations on Power Query. I'm going to check that it's like a text and phone number field, and I want that as a currency. So we want that sense too. So let's keep it to 2 decimal places. So I think we are good. Do we have to change anything? Let me check. R is number. That's all good. I'm going to close and load back to my sheet. I'm going to move forward. So now that we have the day of the week, I'm going to do the same for the month. I'm going to do the field list, and I'm going to add the month over here. Month name instead of day name. I don't want the day name. So that's good. But if you see here, the values are way or like the sorting is like according to the text sorting, like it's sorting based on the alphabetical order, but we want it sorted by the day of the week or the month, right? That it should start from January, February, March. So for that, we're not able to do that. Even if we sort it here, it's just going to stay the same. So for that, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to the Power Query. So in that case, I'm going to launch the Power Query editor again. So there is something called day of the week, the day number and the month number that we can extract from the transaction date column. So I'm going to open that and I'm going to get it. we're not going to use that column anywhere. We're just going to use that to sort the actual month name by using the number of the month.
Okay.
So yep,
Much better.
go to data, get data, and then launch Power Query Editor.
They will combine it over. It's still looking below that, yes.
Okay, once we are in the Power Query Editor, click on the transaction date and go to add column again. And this time we're going to get the month, not the name of the month. So if you click on month, so it's going to give you the number of the month. January is 1, February is 2. It goes on like that. I'm going to do the same for day of the week. I'm going to add the column date. I'm going to go to day, and instead of name of the day, I'm going to select day. All right. So, right, it's going to 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be Sunday 1, Monday 2, something like that. So it's going to have 7. See here. 31. Sorry, my bad.
Well, repeat it exactly.
Sorry.
Transaction date.
Oh, I'm going to do that one more time. Go to the transaction date, add column, date. We want the day of the week, not the name of the day. Okay. So, oh, I did the day before, my bad. I'm going to do the day of the week. You got that? So Sunday is going to be 0. You are going to have 7, 6, 0 to 6. So that's going to be 7. Yep, 0 to 6. So I'm not going to do anything more. I'm going to close and load again. What I'm going to do is, okay, now the Power Pivot is going to help us to sort this field by.
Yes. Go to the next. Yeah, look now. Look, it doesn't work.
Are you correct, Christian?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Once you have like loaded that, go to Power Pivot, click on Manage. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the day name. You're looking for day name and the month name, right? I'm going to select this day name column, and I'm going to click on this sort and filter and sort by column. I'm going to repeat that again. Once you go to Power Pivot, Manage, and it's going to open this, search for the day name column, select that column, sort and filter, sort by column, and you can sort the column by day of the week. All right. You should be able to do the same for the month name as well, and sort it by column by month name. If you see on the screen, it's going to show you the month number. And if you click on OK and close this. So as you can see, the weekdays are already sorted Monday to Saturday. And let's try. So January, February, March, April, May. So it's how you can sort it, because when you create a visualization, it's gonna maintain the same order. So for a user to for a stakeholder to visualize this data or see the data, they want them to be ordered like in a day of the week or month's order. So that's why we wanted to give that a little bit of importance. So I'm going to move on and create other how do other KPIs, how do sales vary across different store location, and what is the price per order. So we're just gonna do it right now. So I'm just gonna see the KPIs that I have, total quantity. Yeah, we did that. Date of the week, we did that. So I'm going to do the sales revenue. We did that as well. Product category and total bill. We're going to do that right now. All right, I'm going to copy this pivot table right here, and I'm going to go to the field list, and instead of this, I'm going to select the product category as a row, and then I'm going to have the total sales at the sum of bill, right? So as you can see, it's very evident. You can do a basic data analysis right here. Coffee is the most sold. It has a large revenue over here. And then tea is close second.
Yeah, got it.
And then we have the bakery items as close to, that's like 82,000 as a revenue
Can you work on that? So
from the product category. Okay, so now that we have the product category label, I'm gonna insert, so I'm gonna click on the pivot chart, pivot table, and then click on pie chart. I'm just gonna do this. It allows you to create donut chart or whatever if you want, but I'm just gonna do pie for now, and we can change the chart type later on once we have that in the dashboard. As usual, I don't want any of these buttons. I'm gonna hide all the field buttons. I'm gonna give this a proper name. I'm gonna give this product category by total sales, right? So we're gonna modify, format this in a while, but I'm just gonna click this. And then drag this here. Right. I'm just gonna place this randomly. We're gonna modify it later. All right. And I don't want this over here. But then we can also create the day of the week as well. Like we can insert a bar chart or anything or column chart. It allows you to create anything that you're interested in. But I would recommend you can use a line chart, but then we are just going to use bar chart. There's like not much date or month type fields here. So I'm going to use a bar chart over here. That is going to show you the sum of sales according to the day of the week. I'm going to remove all the bills. I'm going to cut this and then paste this in my dashboard. I'm just going to move all the visualizations to the dashboard because that's where we want to visualize stuff, right? Okay, the next one is, what is the next KPI? Which products are the best selling in terms of quantity and revenue? We have something called product category, but then within product category, we also have product type and product detail. I'm going to do the product type next. I'm going to click on the field list, and instead of product category, I'm going to drag it outside and get the product type. All right. So we have the all the product types over here. I don't want to see everything because not every stakeholders are going to see like what every single product category, how it's doing. They just want like top 5 or top 10 things to rank to make like a visualization, like which category or which product is doing so well that they can focus on marketing or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this filter, go to value filters, and go to the bottom. There's something called top 10. Click on that. 10 is like too big of a number. I'm going to do 5, and it's going to be filtered by sum of the total bill. So it's going to show you the top 5 product categories by the sales. So as you can see, the barista espresso is doing so well, and the brew chai tea is close second, and I don't know, surprisingly, hot chocolate is third. It is okay. Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna go and do the same for product details. I want to see within the product category which products are doing well and not well. So for that, I'm going to go back to the field list and I'm going to drag this off, and I want the product detail instead of product type, right? I'm going to click on this. So these are all the things that are coming under product detail. But again, I want just the top 5. I don't want to see everything. I'm going to do the value filters, top 10, top 5. I'm going to do top 5. But it's up to your team or whatever they prefer, the KPI list. If they want to see the bottom 5, they can also ask for bottom 5. We can do that as well. So these are just like some things that you want to make sure that you're following the KPI list, what they are looking for, and not just like flying blindly with all the data categories. So this is, I'm going to insert a couple of visualizations here. I'm going to insert a bar chart again, but since it's a rank, I want to do, I'm going to go to the recommended charts, and yeah, bar chart is good. Horizontal or vertical, you can just determine which one is looking good for your dashboards. It all depends on that. I'm going to give this a proper title. Right, I'm going to move this to my dashboard. All right. Okay, one more thing is we have store locations we haven't used so far. That's pretty interesting because to see which store location is doing well, they need that understanding. So I'm going to insert that pivot table because I want to see both how many sales, like how many quantities are being sold, and also how many like total revenue or sales revenue that each store location have got. I'm gonna remove this. I want both. I'm gonna do the location, store location, and that's good for now, but I want the transaction ID. I want to see how many customers actually stop by. For that, I use the transaction ID, that primary key field, the first column. But then it's like summing up the transaction ID itself. It's like a unique ID, which does not make sense. So I'm going to make it to count, not sum. I'm going to go and change it to count, right? So I want this on the top. As you can see here, Hell's Kitchen is doing really well with just a little bit of difference in how many customers who stop by. They are doing like little tag over actual Astoria. So this is like something that you can see. I'm going to remove this for now. I'm going to try and add a pie chart over here. But since it's like it does not show any difference, this is not a right chart to use. It's all the same thing because of tiny difference in the actual customer count. I don't want this. So I'm going to change it. So I'm going to go and select this, go to design, and you can change the chart type from here as well, or you can delete it and start from scratch. So I'm going to do a column chart, and I'm going to select that. Right. Remove all buttons. I don't want that. This doesn't make sense. I don't want that. Okay. So if I go back to the KPI, I want to see.
And we get it to a voucher.
So how do sales vary across different store locations? So I think they're looking for sales too, like the revenue. So I'm going to drag that total bill back into my table. So now that we have like a clustered bar chart, it's going to show you both how many customers stop by and also how many sales happen, but it does not have any data labels, right? So I'm going to click on this add button and click on my data labels. So it's going to show you the access titles. I want that. I want the chart title as well. I'm going to click all that, right? But I don't want the legend. It's not making sense. We can add the legend, but to the bottom maybe. Something like that. Yeah. So I'm going to give this as store location. Right. And and then I'm going to have this chart as sales by store location.
And we can do this chart. Here, it just very quickly. Based on our understanding, I have the total bills. And now, in the validation, it will be a sum. Okay. Now I click the whole chart. Yeah, now insert the voucher.
There's one more.
Access to the part of. Perfect. Now we just change it to sales by store.
Okay.
Sales.
So I'm curious about the count of transaction ID.
Sales.
So transaction ID, that's just the primary key, right?
Yeah.
So what does counting that do?
Oh, that gives you like total customers who stop by the store, but then the quantity actually tells you how many products they buy.
I see.
So it's like footfalls. We call it footfall, like how many stop by the store.
Okay. Okay, so it's not summing the it's not summing the transaction IDs. It's counting how many individual transaction IDs exist.
Exactly.
Got it. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So one more thing we want is the size of the coffee that each people order. I want to see if they are going for small, regular, or large, which one is like selling the most. So I'm going to insert a pivot table again from the data model, and let's see. I'm going to select the size that we created, the table, the column we created, the size, and then the actual total sales, or we can do the total quantity as well, which one suits best. So it's very evident everyone's going for large, or not defined means it might be a scone or any bakery item. But the small, no one is going for the small because of the price. It's like it's with a tiny difference. You can go for a regular or large. Why go for a small? I never go for a small. Okay, that's that. So I can do this as a pie chart, right? It just it gives you like a good difference because of the value being 2. Okay, so I'm going to give this a proper name.
Size of total, right? This is the chocolate. Now use the state of that.
I'm going to cut this
No, instead of chocolate.
and I'm going to paste this on my dashboard. Okay, so we have all the charts that we need so far. I'm going to quickly format this. What I'm going to do is I don't want this. I want this to be full screen. I'm going to hide this for my ease. And then I'm going to keep my chart in the places that I want this to be. So I want to extend this line chart all the way to the right. I want to have my product size pie chart over here. I'm going to make this a little bigger just to fill in the space. You can just play around with it. It's just empty canvas. It's up to you how you want to display your data and how you want to tell a story based on the data. And I want this bar chart to be bigger, so I don't want this pie chart like that. Okay. Right. And then I can move this. I want this over here. Top 5 product category by sales, and then sales by location, right? So what we can do is I don't want the grid lines here. It's just too blah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to view, click on Control A, click on Control A, go to view, and in the grid lines, uncheck the grid lines. So now you have no grid lines, and you can just work with it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my search in Google. I'm just going to type in coffee color palette because I want the coffee color palette to be brown because it just goes with it. I'm going to select on the first link that I'm getting here. So once you go here, I'm going to paste this in the chat box for if it's easy, or you can.
Yeah, description.
Okay, so you can get the hex codes from here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna paste it onto my sheet so that I can use it now and then. I'm gonna go to my pivot. I'm gonna go here, and in the fill, I'm gonna go to more colors, and then go to custom, and then copy my hex code here. I can repeat it for the rest very quickly. Yep. If you go to the link that I shared, you'll get the color palette of the dashboard we're going to work with. Okay, I'm going to repeat this for the rest of the colors, but
Can you repeat?
yeah, I'm going to do that right now. You can copy the hex codes. You can copy, I did the first one already. I'm going to do the second one. Copy the hex code, go to Excel, anywhere. And I just want this to be my recent colors. That's why
I copy paste one of the codes and it's just giving me the code.
No. You have to, if you see that, just follow along 1 second. Just click on any cell, go to home. Okay, so go to the fill color thing.
What one?
Can you see the fill?
Yes.
Fill color and go to more colors. All right. Go to custom and like wherever it says hex code, paste it over there and click on OK. All right.
All right.
Do the same for the 5 palettes that we have. We're just going to work with these colors. I'm going to do that very quickly. What it does is it gives you these recent colors that you can pick very easily from in the fill. So I'm just going to go here and do the same. I'm going to go to home. This one. I'm going to move colors, custom. I'm going to add the hex code over here. I'm going to click save for this. Be good. Okay. If you're good, I'm just gonna move forward. I'm going to select this entire thing, Control A again, and I'm going to fill that with the lightest color that we selected, just to have like a simple wallpaper kind, right? And then I'm going to start transforming each visual to the color palette and then make it a little bit nicer.
Can
Yes.
you repeat the background?
Press on Control A,
Hit control.
go to home.
Why? Control A. No, click this cell.
Any cell, click on any cell and press on Control. I just want the entire sheet to be selected. So I'm going to select the first visual. So press on Control 1. You'll get the format a chart area where you can format your visuals. So I'm going to click on this border and I want rounded corners, which looks a little nicer instead of like bland, sharp edges. So I gave this. And in the fill, I'm going to do the second lightest color. Is that second lightest? No, this is second lightest. My bad. Okay. And then that likewise, you can just like format your visuals, click on the line chart itself and select the line and make that to a darker color. I'm going to do that dark brown. And the markers as well, click on the markers, the tiny dots you see on the line. Go to this marker tab on the right side and then click on the color. Yeah, I'm going to repeat that one more time. Okay. Click on the visual. First, you go to border and click on rounded corners, right?
Yes.
And then go to fill. On the color, you select the second lightest.
What? Okay.
Okay. And then you click on the line chart. And then same thing you do with like darkest color, some dark color, like the dark brown or second to the first dark brown. We'll do that, right? And the markers to select these tiny dots and do the same. It's not markers. All right. Go to the marker and then select the dark color. Okay. You can. So I'm going to select my title, go to home and select my dark color. I want this, not the fill, sorry. I want this text to be dark brown. And I'm going to make it bold and maybe bigger, right? Maybe 20. I'm going to do the same for my axis titles too. I'm going to select dark brown, make it a little bigger and bold. I'm going to do the same for my numbers in my axis. Yeah. I want to select that, make it dark brown, maybe a little bigger and bolder, just to make your visuals neat. So I'm gonna make it bold. Right. Okay, now that we have this, I'm going to copy this, copy it literally, Control C, and click on your bar chart and Control V. So what it does is it's going to copy all the formatting you did for the first chart, but then you can always change the chart type to whatever you want. It's just one click rather than clicking on formatting each title and axis. So I'm going to go to my design tab on the top, change chart type. It was bar chart, I believe. So I'm gonna no, column chart, I guess. Yeah. I'm gonna make this column chart, and you can format it from there. You don't have to do everything all the time. So I'm gonna press on Control 1 to get that. Press on Control 1. I don't want this fill to be white, so I'm going to change it to my chart color itself. And maybe add a proper title to my second chart, which is, what is my title? Day of the week and total transactions. Right. So are we good so far, or should I slow down a little? I'm gonna add my data labels because I want that. Let's see if this is, yeah. Yeah. I don't want this bar chart to have this outline, so I'm gonna have the border. I'm gonna click on my bars, right? It's all selected. Click on no line on the border. It's gonna go off, and you can change the color. It's already selected, right? Go to home and fill it with the dark color, right? I don't want this to, it's too dark. I wanna make it a little lighter. All right. And then you do the same, just copy it, paste it here, and maybe change the chart type to, I don't know. I like donut more than pie because it just makes it look better. I want to do donut chart. All right. Now that the things, the slices are all different, right? I'm going to go back. I don't want this. I'm going to do it manually. I'm going to click on Control 1. Again, rounded corners. I want my fill to be second lightest color. And then I want my chart to be donut, not pie. I'm going to select donut chart, right? And then I don't like my outline, so I'm going to select the pie chart here, the donut chart here. I'm going to select on the border, no line. And then if you go to this bar thing on the top, like the series option, you can change the donut hole size. I like it to be like this. It looks much better than the bulky donut thing. So I'm going to do it that way. And this is pretty good, but I don't like the colors. It's like not going with our palette. So I'm going to change that as well. So I'm going to go like the blue can be light. You can't have it to be the same color as your background, maybe something different. Select the green, maybe a little light. The dark one. And the orange is okay, it goes with our palette. I'm going to change the blue to the darker one. And then you can have the I'm going to add data labels, right? The data labels, I don't like the black color on it because it's not showing up. I'm going to change it to white. All right. And maybe bold or something. Doesn't go well. I'm going to change it to black. Maybe this one alone. These two alone can be white, right? Because it's not good. It's not showing up. That's what I'm going to do here. And then maybe the legend, I'm going to go add to the bottom. Are we good?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, this is great.
I'm going too fast or?
No, it's a lot of stuff to cover, but
Okay.
I think it's fine, yeah.
I think this is the design part, right?
Yeah,
This
it's
is-
just.
yeah. So we're done with like the functionality.
Yeah, I mean, we have a little more slicer things we can add. I'm going to do that maybe. Okay, so we can add like slicers because as I mentioned, I want the month and the day of the week as a slicer, right? I'm going to make some space for that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to the pivot thing. I'm going to insert, go to insert and click on slicer. All right. And then click on data model. Double click on it. And then you will have all the fields. I'm going to select day name as a slicer. It's going to come up over here. You can cut and then paste it. All right. I'm going to do the same. Insert. I'm going to insert slicer. I'm going to do that for the month name. All right. I'm going to. So the month name is here. Should I slow down or I can repeat it again if you want?
So is this going to impact? So if we had more than one chart that dealt with day or month, whenever we clicked on day or month in the slicer, it would affect all charts
We can
that showed
actually
that.
make a connection. That's how I'm going to get.
Okay.
So we can actually choose which pivot tables should be affected when you click on this slicer. I want to zoom in a little bit. So if you go to this, once you've added your slicers to your dashboard, right click on your slicer, right? And then go to report connections. And then select all the pivot tables, but make sure, because this Sunday, Monday thing is also here, the second visual, it's based on the day of the week, right? I don't want this to filter to just one day of the week when I select Sunday. So I want to exclude that. So I'm going to see the name of the pivot table. It's called day name, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to exclude that alone when I'm doing the report connections. Instead of selecting all the pivot tables that are to be affected when we are selecting this slicer, I'm going to remove that. What is that? It's called pivot table 2. I'm going to make it today. Okay. So going back to report connections, I'm going to exclude the day name and then select everything else. All right. So click on OK. And now when you select Sunday, so your dashboard changes except this particular card. If not, it's gonna show only the Sunday's bar. I'm gonna do the same report connections over here. I'm gonna select everything. All right, so this is like the slicer, but one more thing we can do over here is KPI cards. That's the last thing I want to cover. So for the KPI cards, I want to use a measure, like a DAX measure that you can write to show like total sales, like for that particular month, how much sales without having any breakdown by categories or a day of the week. I want total customers who stop by. I'm just going to write over here. And then one thing we have on this KPI list is what is the average price per order per customer? So that's like how much average of a price that each customer are paying. So I'm going to do that average bill per customer. And then one more thing is average order quantity by customer. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to that Power Pivot and click on this measure, new measure, and I'm going to make this measure name as total sales. So it's similar to how you write a DAX query in Power BI. I'm going to use sum of, I'm going to use the total bill as total sales, right? Just double click on it. And I want this to be currency because it's a total bill and the decimal is already there. It's gonna prefix with a dollar symbol. So I'm going to use that. So the measure is created.
For category, what one? Remember currency. Expression is not valid to be completed.
So I want this to be a pivot table for me to existing worksheet. This particular, I'm going to copy this. Let's do that. I'm going to the field list. So now that you've created this measure, you can drag this measure over here. Total sales as values. Yep.
Didn't work. I
Sorry.
don't think so. Hold on.
It'll come up now. We'll have the later with the multiplication.
Manage total sales, edit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct. Go back.
You can just give me
It's
these.
the range part.
What?
Taking the range back.
Range? Range?
Yeah. Not for range.
Okay.
Right. So, yeah.
I'm going to write one more measure for total customers. That's like total.
And I don't know.
Yes, so follow this one.
I'm going to distinct count. I'm going to count it, but make sure you use distinct count. We don't have any duplicates, but I always tend to use distinct count. I'm going to write transaction ID. So the primary key, like how many actual transactions were made, that gives you the total customers. So I'm going to use that. And the number should be general because it's a number of people who are stopping by. It can't be in decimals. So I'm going to click on OK. Okay, I'm just going to do these two cards really quick and then we can, I don't know, I'll be happy if you have time. We already passed 8. So I'm going to insert a shape here. Oops. Illustrations, go to shape, click on something. I'm going to make a card right here, right? Instead of using measures, you can also use like sum of total bill of this particular data set. You can just use a formula instead of pivot, but then the filters won't work in that case. Whenever you click on slicer, it won't reflect. That's why I always use measures. Go to that shape that you created for the KPI card, click on equal to, and then go to that pivot. The formula, if you wanted to, if you created that, you can create that, or you can just select the measure that's E38, right? I'm going to select that. Click on E. What was that? So both works. And you can just go and format this according to your colors. I'm going to give light color and then I'm going to make the background dark. Right. And you can, oops, I didn't make that light. Make it light. And and maybe increase the font size. Right? And you can actually format it to be in the center. And yeah. So once you have it, you can just write total sales for it to have a label. Right? You can do the same for total customer. I'm going to copy it. And instead of E38, I'm going to do F38. Right? I'm going to do format painter over here so that all these things will carry forward here. So instead of this, I'm going to do total customers. All right. So it actually changes when you select different slicer. On Wednesday, we had like 100,000 sales and we had like 21,000 customers. And it depends, like when you select different month in January, on a Wednesday, it was like this much. So the entire thing changes. Just one more thing I wanted to show here was, I don't like this line chart, how it looks. What I do usually is to make it look like this fill line chart. I have something called, I'm going to go back to field list. I want this transaction quantity sum twice in order to mimic that area chart, but it's not actually area chart. I want it to look like an area chart, but like a fill line chart. What I do is I'm going to go to transaction quantity and do it twice, right? What I'm going to do is, this looks so bad. I'm going to insert a line chart with a marker. So now you have two, but it won't show as two because it's like overlapping with each other. I'm going to delete this. Right, I'm going to select one line chart. I'm going to go to design, change chart type, and one would be line with markers and other would be a two-dimensional area chart. Now you'll have like a mimicked area chart. So this actually, like, you can format it. I'm going to do that really quick. Where is that? I'm going to press on F1. I said Control 1. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this. I'm going to make it to gradient fill, right? Make sure it's linear. The type is linear and the angle is 90 degrees. You can delete all this. I just want this to have like a, where's the color? Oh yeah, I want this to have like a brown color. Both to be brown. I want this to be brown as well, right? But I want one stuff to be fully transparent, transparency to be 100, and the other one to be 0. Transparency should be 0. So it'll give you like a filled area chart, but it'll look better rather than this plain, boring line chart that we have. So that's what I usually do when I want to like make my dashboard look a little bit better. I'm going to change the line color here. Thing and the marker as well as brown. This looks much better than my previous boring stuff. I'm going to delete this one. And all right. So this is just, I'm gonna copy this and make this to rounded stuff. Rounded corner, and then I'm going to fill it with the same color that are this one. I'm going to fill it with the same color. And then add, I don't know, add your title, access title, everything. Just if you, it's just same thing I did for my dashboard too, but I formatted all my visuals and added a little bit of icons here and there. So what you can do is you can insert an icon, right? Illustration and icon. And I'm going to select a database icon just to show how page navigation works in Excel, right? I'm going to, oops, wow. What's up? All right. So once you have this, I'm just going to place it. I always place it in the footer. I'm going to right click on it, and you can link this icon back to another sheet. It plays in this document. You can select that, and then I'm going to select the first sheet. If anyone like users want to see the actual data set that we worked with, so if you select this, it's gonna take you back to that sheet. So that's how page navigation works in Excel. And maybe if I want the users to go and check out the pivot table instead, I'm going to do icons and pivot table. Sorry, what is a table? Right. I'm going to link it to the pivot table now. You can change the color as well, the fill colors of the graphics. You can just change it to the same old brown, anything that you want, like to make it go with the theme. So I'm going to right click on this table, link, place in this document, and then select pivot instead. So when you click on it, it's going to take you to the pivot sheet, the pivot table that we worked with. And then you can also modify or format your slicer. I'm going to select this one, and then you can duplicate it in order to modify or format it. The color, when you hover over it, you can select like which color you want to see, or the selected item with data, you can select the font, everything, the color, bold, make it bold, or something like that. It's just how you want the users to see your dashboard. So since it's your portfolio project, I would suggest making it a little bit better or nicer in order for you to actually upload this to a GitHub. And the same thing, once transformed or like made neater, I just made this into this one. So because of the time, I'm just going to stop here. But I think that's all I have for today. You can also save this and upload this to your GitHub and share the GitHub link to any of your friends or mentor, or your even the link to, you can add it to your resume for the recruiters to see how you did that. And also build like a portfolio website where you can upload this dashboard, and make it interactive too, and people don't have to go into the pivot tables in order to actually interact with the dashboard. You can just have the Excel sheet uploaded over there. I think, yeah, that's all I have for today. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Great work, Rashmi. Thank you very much. Stay tuned to our website and social media accounts. Make sure you sign up for our newsletter, and that'll be the best way to find out when we're doing the next one. Thank you everyone for joining. We're happy to have had you here. Hopefully you got something out of it. And make sure to join our Discord. That'll be a great way to connect with Rashmi as well. Ask her questions, show off what you made tonight, or what you do to update it in the coming days. You can find the link to that on the homepage to the Hackforge website. That's hackf.org. Click on the little Discord dude, and it'll bring you right to the server. Okay.
Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.